Ladies and gentlemen, back again this week. I'm super excited. I love talking to fighters. This week, our guest was secretly a wrestling fan for a long time. Kind of stopped over in 2016, and you guys will get to learn about that. But this week we have Eman Hardy. He has become a new brother of the channel. I love talking to him. It was a real good, calm, relaxed, sit down vibe with a MMA fighter. I'm super excited to see what he does here in the next month because he will be at Stellar Fights 64 in the main event, putting his title on the line. I can't wait for you guys to watch this episode. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope you guys enjoy everything about the new format that we were going with, doing more fighters too. We will be coming back to wrestlers, especially because we will be uploading our vlog of P1P Test of Strength. That was super fun event. Was great to be able to kind of let loose and have a little bit more fun with all the wrestlers from OTR, from Prime Wrestling Academy, and so many others from Arizona. I'm super excited. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Before anything else, don't forget, remember to like, comment what you guys want to see us do next. Do you guys want wrestling more? Do you guys want more fighters? Let us know. And of course, hit subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you guys know when we're uploading, because we're going to try and do that a little bit more frequently throughout the week. Now, let's get into my conversation with Eman Hardy.
Downtime in the ring.
All right, man. So after doing my research on you, the one thing that I am super excited to talk about, and I don't know if you're going to be excited to talk about it, is all the anime gear.
Yeah, man. Got a lot of that shit. Yeah.
I saw the Demon Slayer shorts, dude, and I was like, oh, he likes anime? Oh. So that's pretty cool, my guy. So even talking to you, trying to set up this interview, trying to, see when would be the best times. It's like, it seems like you are just constantly training. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm actually like right outside the gym now. Yeah, I'm just I think the kids class is about to start like the next 30 minutes. So after that, we getting in the sparring. So I try to get it in like right after I got off work, and then try before we start sparring.
I was seeing everything that you've been accomplishing. What I think it's your Instagram post said, 5 fights, 4 different weight classes.
I had 6 fights. I got 5 wins and 4 different weight classes. Yeah, I started at 85 because, well, my coach this is my first time having a fight, so I never wrestled before, and like when I did jiu-jitsu, like I never had to cut weight, so I didn't know how to, and my coach knew I didn't know how to, so he was like, all right, well, let's just try to get you a fight at 85. So I know at the time when I told him, I was like 205, and we didn't know each other that well at the time, so I'm telling him like, yo, I can lose the weight by then. And he didn't believe me, so he was just like, we're going to do 85 and have you cut. So by the time I think I took the fight, I want to say it was January I accepted it. And the fight was supposed to be like April 1st or April 4th or something like that. So by the time the fight came, I had slimmed all the way down to like walking around at 85. So, I mean, I fought there, and then that fight fell through. Fought at 85. And I ended up weighing 182 for my first fight. So I weighed under the weight limit. And then I lost that one. So then, I'm kind of a competitor. So I was like, yeah, I didn't want to go down off a loss. I needed one more at middleweight. So I took one more. And then from there, after that win, we just started to slowly, knock our weight down as we went down the weight classes.
I believe when we talked, you said you have 2 fights in the next 2 weeks.
2 fights within 2 weeks of each other. Yeah, I fight November 2nd and November 15th.
How?
Well, I've been looking for a fight at 55 for, I want to say either the beginning or middle of July, and we couldn't find nobody to take the fight, or if somebody took it, they would say yeah, and it would change their mind. So I just kind of got tired of waiting. So I told him, I was like, yo, if it helps us find an opponent, just bump the weight class up 10 pounds. So they found me a fight, and then I'm also the champion in a different weight class at 70. So I wanted to try to get. I didn't feel right sitting on the belt for that long, so I was telling him, yo, let me get a quick title defense in. So I had 2 promoters looking for fights, and then one found it, and then like a week later, like another promoter came up to me, offered me a big fight, and I was like, you know what, I can't refuse that one. So here we are.
What got you into fighting?
Shit, honestly, it might be wrestling. Like,
Really?
yeah, I was a big wrestling fan, like as a kid. So, and then,
Okay.
Brock Lesnar came over, and once he did that, that's when I found out about it. And then I started watching pay-per-views, and then I think the first one I seen, I think it was like UFC 67 or 68. It was Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz. And yeah, after I watched that pay-per-view and I seen Nick Diaz knock out Robbie Lawler, I was hooked.
That's that's pretty cool to hear that it was a professional wrestler that got you into mixed martial arts and got you into fighting. And now from there, what does a typical like training week look like for you?
So on Mondays, come in for strength and conditioning and like a regular MMA class where we go over like ground and pound techniques, striking in a takedown, stuff like that. Then right after we do strength and conditioning, which could be just lifting weights, just endurance type stuff. And then Tuesday would be like a jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai day. And then Wednesday, like today, would be sparring. And Thursday, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. Friday is usually an off day for me. They do wrestling here, but either I'll wrestle here or I'll go to another gym in the area and I'll do like some boxing. And Saturday is another sparring day. And then Sunday, if I have time, then I'll go out to spar again somewhere else.
On your Instagram notes, you put 2012 Ryback, which for anybody who's a wrestling fan knows that's Feed Me More Ryback. What gives you that motivation to keep going? Because I know for a lot of people, and primarily, like I said, most of our audience is professional wrestling base, and a lot of them haven't had ever been really punched in the mouth, so they're probably wondering the same thing. What keeps you going to just want to do this?
I'm obsessed with it, man. Like all day, that's all I can think about is fighting. So, and then, I try to draw inspiration from everywhere. Like, if I got a bunch of teammates that are fighting and competing, coming in here sparring every day, I try to learn something new every day. So it's always on my mind. So I'll be at work just sitting there, and sometimes I just zone out just thinking about fights, having playing in my mind, how my next fight will go, and it's hard to stay out when you think like that.
Speaking of your next fight, you have one, like you said, November 2nd, Stellar Fight 64, Exhibit Hall, Harrington, Delaware. How are you feeling about that one?
I feel good. I feel almost too good. Sometimes, some fights, when it's that far away, I try not to think about it too much. It's just, I don't know. I got a lot of faith in my team. I got a lot of faith in what I do in the day-to-day, just the training and how I approach the game. So, I don't know. I tend not to overthink it. Like I said, I'm always thinking about fighting all day, so I'm excited for it. But other than that, I'm just ready to get back in there. It's only been, I think last time I fought was June. So it's only like 3 months ago, maybe. But I don't know, man. It feels like forever. There's been a lot that happened since my last fight that's been keeping me out of training. But now that I'm back to being able to, I want to keep that momentum going again.
What's your guilty pleasure? Like, what do you do away from MMA that keeps you mentally sane? Like, everybody has their little thing. What is yours?
It might be the game. Just playing the game all the time. That's something I do all the time. Like playing like UFC. I play EA Sports UFC. I play Rainbow Six Siege. Just be on the game with my friends. Just on Xbox, just talking shit. But I don't know. It might be that.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'll respect that, because you need that time away, especially for what you're doing. You need that time away to just relax. And, there are tons of fighters who use gaming for their way to relax. Demetrius Johnson is one of the big ones that I love to watch. And he even talked about it before he retired, was like, that was a big avenue for him to just relax and chill out on. I'm gonna assume it might be anime also.
Not as much. It used to be. I used to watch it like all the time, but now I watch maybe one show, and like until I finish it, I won't watch anything else. But because like I said, it's hard. Like I watch fights all day, so it's like hard to keep my attention on a single show. I'll be thinking of watching the show, and I'll think about a fighter, and I'll just turn it off and then go watch another fight. So it's hard to stay focused on it these days.
All good. So, what did you do growing? Like, what did you play growing up? What turned you into the competitive man that you are today?
I don't know. Like I said, man, I was a big wrestling fan back then. So like, I don't know. My favorite wrestlers was like Kurt Angle and I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name. Or, Chris
Oh,
Benoit.
you can. You
Yeah,
can.
okay. Chris Benoit was my favorite wrestler, man. So, and you know how their style was. It's a lot of holds and submissions. So I always like fascinated with that. And then you had the action figures growing up and everything. But I can't remember because it was different kinds. They had the regular ones that was kind of stiff, and they
Yeah.
had one kind that was like you could bend the knees and the elbows and turn them left and right. They had a
Yeah.
lot more mobility to them. So like I used to wrestle, and like some kids they just clack them together and shit like that when they playing with them. I used to actually be trying to try out the wrestling moves like really accurately. So I don't know. And then I had a bunch of little cousins and stuff. So we used to always wrestle and stuff. I used to put my little cousins in like the walls of Jericho and sharpshooters and shit like that. So I don't know. I guess it came from that because I didn't like football and stuff like that. Like when I played, I was trash. So I don't know.
So you didn't really like play any sports growing up.
I played football for like 3 years and I hate.
I'm gonna show a picture of you right now after in post and be like, I don't know how this like you look like you played sports your entire life, dude.
Yes, sir. I think the first time I outside of like I played football when I was like 13 for like I said 2 or 3 years, and then outside of that, the first time I competed like against someone in any other type of sport was a jiu-jitsu tournament in like 2020 at the end of 2020 or 2021. So yeah, that was my first time doing anything.
So for like jujitsu and Muay Thai and all
Mm-hmm.
of these different fighting styles, which one is your favorite and why?
And sure, if you had asked me last week, that'd been different. I like I like striking a lot more. I feel like I got a better understanding of it, but I'm not gonna. I started with jujitsu. Like I said, it's kind of submissions is kind of what got me into fighting in general. And I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot from what if you watch my fights, you would think it's the other way around. But I feel like my ground game is better than my striking. So I would have to say jujitsu is probably my strong suit, or just grappling in general.
And what like yeah, so just always liking these submissions. How did that feel getting into your first jujitsu tournament and or having your first match at a jujitsu tournament? Like what went through your mind when you were doing that? Because everybody sees it on TV and they're like, "Oh yeah, I think I'd be good at that." But then you have to, you're about to try it. You have the gi on and everything. How did
Yeah.
you know?
Well, with that, it was I didn't do my first tournament. Excuse me. I didn't do my first tournament until I want to say like a 7 or 8 months after I started training.
Yeah,
So I had a lot of time to get ready for it, and I was at a smaller gym at the time. So there was it was a gym with like a lot of white belts. We had a few blue belts and like I think 2 or 3 purple belts at the time. And I was going with the coach who was a brown belt at the time. I would just go with him. I would go with some of the white belts and blue belts, but for the majority of the time I was rolling with a brown belt. So when I going with him, and I mean he still was beating my ass, but like I was able to I was able to hold my own some days. So going with him and being used to that, and then knowing that I'm just going in here and just going against another white belt, I knew I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be. I figured it'd be easier, so I kind of went into it confident. I knew I was gonna win, and I remember my coach was telling me. I think he thought he thought I had a little too much dip on my chip because he was like, look, I know it's your first term, but don't expect to win. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't go in there thinking I'm gonna lose. So the first 2 fights I won, and then I think I got into the finals of the tournament, and I went against I don't know what he was. He might have been a wrestler. It felt like it. because the other two fights were kind of easier, and then I went against him. His name was Jorge Diaz, and I remember the second he grabbed me, he had like picked me up and slammed me, and I really ever been slammed like that before. So I was like, oh shit, and then he just was throwing me around for about 2 minutes, and then I think after that, I think at some point I started to see him slow down. So then I was able to, turn the tide in my favor and get the win. But that, like that feeling, I remember it was like I said, I only ever did football, and that's a team sport. So this is my first time competing in anything where it was like solely up to me, and it was a great feeling. It felt good.
When you were growing up,
Mhm.
you like you said, you didn't really care for much other sports. Uh, did your like high school have like amateur wrestling, or is that just something you were like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that?
Yeah, no, they had wrestling. I was acting like a bitch. I should have did it, but my thing was at the time I used to be fat, so like I wasn't fat in high school though, but like around that time they had wrestlers wear the singlets,
Mhm.
and like I was like, man, I don't want no singlets, I don't want no tights, but if I didn't know, I wasn't sure that I'd be fighting eventually, but it's a decision I regret. So I'd have been way better if I would have did wrestling.
Yeah, you have had a pretty cool career so far. How long have you been fighting in total?
I took my first fight. I want to say it was May of last year, so it's only been like a year and a half.
Yeah. I'm seeing you with a lot of, well, obviously the two belt picture that you have on your Instagram
Hmm.
where you're cheesing all proud and very deserved, man.
I appreciate.
Um going into like your Instagram, dude, at first it was just like fashion Instagram and then it finally transitions into MMA.
Yeah, man. I used to post like maybe like once or twice a year. Just I don't know. Everything had to go right for me to put a picture. Like I had to have my haircut, I had to have something to wear and I just never really felt like doing it. But then once I started training, like that's when I would fight and then they would take pictures there from me. So I'm like, oh, I gotta post that. So yeah, man, it's just like one day I just started fighting this out of nowhere one day. So
Yeah, it seems just like it just randomly happened for you. There wasn't really a motive or anything. It's just like, hey, I want to try this. Am I correct?
I mean, kind of. It was always like it's always been in the back of my head since I was like 16 or 17. But when you're younger, you only know which you're around. And at the time, you go to school, everybody tells you, it's you gotta go to college or go to work and stuff like that. And I always wanted to fight, but it's hard when you before you start. It's hard to really know how to get into it. But I had worked at Amazon for a bit, and I met somebody named Chris, and he had told me about a bunch of different gyms in the area that he had tried out. So I decided one day to try it, and I had fun, but I ended up not going back for like maybe 6 months, and then I had moved, and then I was like, you know what, I might as well. Like I would just go to work and then play the game all day, and I'm like, you know what, I feel like if I'm gonna try to do it, it's gotta be now. So I started training one day, and then I was trying to get a fight at my first gym. It wasn't happening, so I moved to another gym, and then within like 6 months, they saw that I had potential and told me I could get a fight soon. So that's when I just started putting all my focus into that. And then after the first one, it was a wrap because that was my first MMA fight. Was my first fight ever. Like I had never been into a street fight or anything. So yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy feeling.
Yeah, like how did that feel, just being like, oh yeah, this man across from me just wants to knock the shit out of me and I gotta stop him and knock him out first. How did that feel?
I don't know, man. It was different, but I'm. It depends. Like when I everything else I've done and ever done, like I'm just kind of like lackadaisical about it. But I don't know. It's like when it comes to like fighting or competing in any type of like combat sport, I just have this. I have a different type of confidence about it. I don't know. So it's like when I was going into the first fight, I really wasn't. I didn't really get nervous or anything, and I actually might have took him a little too lightly. Now I think about it, because I went in there. I remember I was in the back getting my hands wrapped, and I'm just like, I just felt super calm. I was excited, but like calm. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna knock this dude out. Like he didn't look super intimidating. Like it was at a higher weight class. I'm like, I don't know if it's because he didn't have a beard or what. I was like, I don't know. He don't look that scary. So when we went out there, I don't know. I just was having fun. So you don't really feel it till you get in there, because when you get in there and the lights are on you and everything, it's like you get like a kind of a tunnel vision. That threw me off. So it's like you just fight and then you just hear all the oohs and ahs. You know your family's out there watching. But yeah, it's a fun experience in general though.
Well, you know what, dude, this has been a great talk. I want to have you back hopefully sometime in November so that we can actually talk about your freshest fights.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about, you know, how it feels to go back 1 week and then another week back to back with 2 different fights.
Yeah.
As we begin to wind down, where can everybody find your socials? Do you have YouTube, anything like that? Let the people know.
Well, yeah, I mainly just have Instagram. It's, I think underscore ESCVBAR MMA.
Okay.
And other than that, I don't really have anything else. At least anything I can remember the name of.
Oh. All right, brother. Well, I have enjoyed this talk. I can't wait to have you back on in November so we can actually go over your fights. Hopefully, we'll have footage that I can give or I can show everybody of how you're going to defend your title, because I'm super excited for the November 2nd one, man. I hope there's some way I'm going to be able to see all the footage for it. And we will catch each and every one of you in the next. Hi, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you guys liked, comment, subscribed, did everything that we asked you guys to do. And I hope you guys looked him up, and I hope most of you guys watch his fight. He's actually a pretty cool guy. We talked a lot more after the recording. It was fun, and he's definitely a relatable guy to where, you know, just wants to fight, and something that I've gone into. It opened something back up into me, because I used to amateur wrestle. I did cross country, track, football, everything that you could imagine. I had my hand in it growing up. So it's cool to be able to talk to somebody, to be able to sit down with somebody and be like, hey, fighting is something cool. It's not for everybody, even though everybody thinks they can have an opinion on it. But it is something unique and something wonderful once you actually know how to do it, or even if you know how to do it at a regular level, it's still great. So overall, I just wanted to come talk to you guys. 1, please like, comment, subscribe. 2, we are still on the road to 500 giveaway. We are at 146 right now as of this recording. So I need those numbers to come up so that we can give you guys the title away. Don't think that wrestling is going to disappear or that it's just going to be moved away or anything like that. If anything, it's just taking a detour right now. We still have the vlogs coming out. I've just been backlogged editing. We actually have a new one coming out, which will feature P1P's final show of the year, Test of Strength, and me and Morgan's trip to Albuquerque to go watch Imagine Dragons. So I'm super excited for that vlog to come out. As of this recording, we are actually going to go tomorrow, so we will see. So it would be the Wednesday of this day that's coming out, this Saturday. It was past Wednesday when we were out there. And I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. As of this show, we are going to be in Odessa, which will be another separate vlog like that. Like you guys understand, the wrestling content isn't disappearing. It's just finding fighters, being able to relate to them and being able to talk to them and be like, hey, cool. I want to do more than train. I want to pick your brains a lot more, because I know how it feels to cut weight, to not be good at it, to get your ass kicked, to come back, to get better, to be able underweight, to make these tournaments, to do all these things. So I love it. It's brought something back, like I guess the nostalgia feel and everything about it, something that unless you truly do it, you won't understand. You can say you understand, but it's the same thing with professional wrestlers. Like unless you do it, you don't understand. And I love it. And it's opened my eyes to be a lot healthier, to do a lot more things, because I'm still 26. Who knows what could happen? And if one day we get a jiu-jitsu vlog, that'd be kind of cool or something like that. Overall, I'm very grateful for each and every one of you guys that do watch, that do hang out, that do listen, and do all these fun things. Hope you guys liked, comment, subscribe yet again, and I hope you guys just stick around. And hopefully somebody will win that damn belt soon so that we can get it off Chris. And I'll see each and every one of you in the next video.